Violence against women and children is still a very real issue in South Africa. That is why it is the focus of the 2025 South African Child Gauge. The report looks at how these forms of violence are interlinked and how we can build safer and healthier families and communities. Stay tuned because we are about to speak to one of the contributors who will help us understand this issue and share what we can do to make a change.
The South African Child Gauge is the flagship research publication of the Children's Institute, and the 2025 issue brought together over 70 researchers, policymakers, and practitioners as chapter authors and case study authors. Now, this 18th edition of the Child Gauge focused on the intersections of violence against women and children. Now, listening to help us understand this very intricate topic a bit better, we are joined by one of the authors, Merciline Machisa. So, hi there, Mercy. Please tell us who you are and what your chapter in the Child Gauge focuses on.
Hi, Emily, and thanks for having me this afternoon. So my name is Merciline Machisa, and I am a senior specialist scientist at the South African Medical Research Council, and I am one of the editors of the Child Gauge, and I also authored an article on communities, engaging communities in violence prevention. So in that chapter, what we talk about is that the community is a place where children need to feel safe. The community is a place where everybody must come together and work together to come up with caring communities that protect women and children.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great work. So, what are some of the main things that children should understand about violence in communities?
So I think children should know that they have rights. They have a right to feel safe. They have a right to be protected. They have a right to express themselves and to say when they have something that is troubling them. And they have a right to seek help. And they have also the right to be able to talk about some of the things that they see that is happening in communities and that affect them. So children should know that they have a voice and their voice matters in terms of the violence that happens in their communities.
Mm-hmm. Now, why do some communities struggle with safety and care?
So many communities struggle with care and with being safe for children because of history. So we know that in some communities, some adults, they have already experienced violence themselves, and they think that is the normal way of life. And so what we encourage is that there needs to be programs that help those adults who think that violence is a good way of resolving conflicts, violence is a way of being, so that they can rethink that way. But also we know that in our society, particularly when we think about children, for many, many years, there's been that teaching that children are just minors, children should listen, adults should decide, and adults know how best to tell children to be. And so there we are also saying that there is a need for adults to rethink how they behave and how that affects children, but also to see children as humans who have rights and who should be able to be given a voice and who should be protected.
So, what can neighbors and community leaders do to create a safer environment for children?
So firstly, adults, neighbors, and people in the community need to know that they have a responsibility to protect children. And so when they find a child being abused or a child being violated, they have a responsibility according to the law to report it. But also, I think adults need to know that they should be able to believe children, because many times children are experiencing these things and maybe no one is witnessing it. But when children say, Uncle so-and-so did this to me, they don't believe them. They just think children are telling stories, or they don't like that uncle, or they want that uncle to be in trouble. And so we're saying that whenever children speak about being violated and abused, it's important for everybody around them to believe what they are saying, and then to launch an investigation so they can better understand what has happened and not to dismiss children.
Now, what community actions or projects can help people look after one another better?
So, for example, an easy one is that many parents end up working when children are out of school. A neighbor, can take responsibility, for example, to be just watching that house where the adults are known to be working and to be, helping just to watch that house so that they are not people who come and take advantage of children because they know their parents are not there, they are working. So there are many projects, for example, having play centers or parks where children can go and play and it's safe and nobody can come and abuse them. I've talked about how mothers or parents can help each other, take turns to watch after each other's children when they are working, so that at least there's no predators that come and target the children. But also we have seen in many communities, even as children are going to school, there are parts or areas that are given so that children can be protected. So community in a country like ours, there's a lot of people who are not employed, who don't have jobs, but those people can help in terms of community safety by being involved in, those activities and projects that make sure children are safe, whether they're going to school, they are playing, or they're just around the community.
Now, we speak a lot about adults doing this and that to help make children safer. But how can children themselves help build a kinder and more caring community?
So I think that the schools have an opportunity because children are in schools all the time, and children can become kinder. They can look out for others who are being bullied. For example, someone can be bullied and might not be able to report it because they are afraid of a bully. But if you know someone is being bullied, you can go and anonymously report that bully, so that whether it is the teachers or the adults can look into that case. And also, if you know that someone is being bullied, you can lend them a shoulder, you can be friendly to them, you can help them in terms of just them to know that you have seen what has been happening to them. You can encourage them to report it or to talk about them, but you can be friendly, and you can even, I guess, in some ways, as groups of friends, you can be talking about some of these behaviors and showing that this is not a good way to be. And within your own friendship circles, come up with pacts in terms of when we are together, this is the way we behave, this is the way we treat each other, this is the way we respect each other, this is the way we are mindful of each other's feelings. And that helps, because when we talk about violence, it's not just about physical violence, but it's also about emotional violence, because many times I think children talk to each other in violent ways. They say mean things about each other. They laugh at each other. They do things that are emotionally distressing to each other. And just being mindful of how what you say, what you do affects another child is a good start. And being able to talk about it with your friends is a good start to become friends and to become peers who are caring and who are safe for the other children.
Now, Mercy, just the end, obviously, anything else that you'd like to add?
I think I would just want to add for particularly what we talk about in the chapter that we wrote about the role of every community member. Everybody has a role to play to make sure that children are safe, and everybody can play that role. And it just needs us to be thinking about the impacts of violence, because if a child is abused or is violated today, they are going to be affected in terms of their health, but also in terms of their future. And so we have a role to play, and we should not just look away when we see children being violated and say, it's not my business. We should really take responsibility, and we should do what we can to be able to protect those children.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. That was very informative.
Thank you.